Kia ora, and welcome to the launch of the next generation of Helix Personas. In a world where disruption is the new business model, we all need a competitive edge to stay ahead of the curve. We need to understand what will happen next, not what's just happened, not what was happening in the rear vision mirror. And as the world continues to change, our clients need to understand their clients and their customers better than ever before. They need practical business solutions that predict future behaviour and that humanise big data to put people and customers back at the centre of the picture. Enter Helix Personas. So Helix Personas unlocks the DNA of New Zealanders and reveals the story of every New Zealander at an intimate and granular level, town by town, street by street. Helix Personas paints the picture of a nation that's constantly being reshaped by social change. It combines sophisticated values-based attitudinal and behavioural data to identify the unique mindsets of every New Zealander. So we all know that a lot's changed in New Zealand in the last 5 years, and particularly the last 2 years. As we emerge from the COVID-19 pandemic, it's important more than ever to understand the forces shaping New Zealand and how New Zealanders think and feel about those changes. I'd like now to hand over to Howard Seckham, our Chief Digital Officer here at Roy Morgan, to introduce the next generation of Helix Personas.
Thank you, Michelle, and welcome everybody. Roy Morgan developed Helix Personas because our clients realised that demographics and transactional data are simply no longer enough to understand their customers and the market. Helix Personas is built on the principle that what defines us is not simply our demographics and past behaviour, it is our values, our attitudes, our beliefs and our opinions. By truly understanding your customers, it is then possible to tap into their emotions and key drivers, to influence and persuade them, and drive a deeper bond with your brand. Helix Personas are based on psychographics, which are important as they explain why a consumer buys, whereas demographics explain who the consumer is. A really simple way of understanding the power of psychographics is to ask the question, are all 20 to 34-year-old women the same? Do they have the same opinions, ambitions, interests, tastes, attitudes and buying behaviours? The answer, of course, is no. Here is another way to think of it. Prince Charles versus Ozzy Osbourne. Funny, yes, but a great way of explaining why not to segment on demographics alone. Now, Helix Personas doesn't just magically happen. There are many moving parts. It's the language of data science and deep data. It's only made possible through the marriage of Roy Morgan's own deep single source data and the hundreds of years of combined experience our data science team has in building sophisticated algorithms and running global value studies, where we've distilled the essence of what drives human behaviour. Now, I know you must be all keen to meet the next generation Helix Personas. Now, let's start with our 6 new Helix communities. The 100 leading lifestyles. These individuals are doing very well and like to be seen to do well. They are progressive as well as success and career focused, living in upmarket suburbs, enjoying cultured city living. The 200 Metratechs are socially aware and optimistic, thinking about issues and their impact on the world. They're hardworking, highly educated and culturally diverse, and you'll find them at the latest hotspots around town. The 300 Aspirationals are ambitious, up and coming, culturally diverse young families, singles and couples, committed to creating a successful future. The 400 Hearth and Home represent the average Kiwi. Life revolves around the home for these contented families and empty nesters who see their homes as an expression of their status and achievements. The 500 Doing Fine community are content with their place in life. This community includes many young migrants and some older New Zealanders happily making their way through life on modest incomes. And finally, the 600 Fair Go community. These people are looking for a better deal in life and hoping to overcome challenging circumstances presented by low incomes, low employment and low education. Within these 6 communities, we've identified 52 unique mindsets which make up our personas. Some of the names you'll recognise and some are new. You'll find a range of personas in each community. Each are a nuanced expression of the overall community mindset and values profile, as well as buying behaviour and intentions, brand preferences and media consumption. So what's new? The next generation Helix personas are only part of the story. At the same time, we've completely re-engineered the entire Helix Personas platform to provide you with deeper insights and a frictionless user experience. We've also developed an integrated premium mapping tool to help you explore personas down to a street block level. And finally, one of the biggest new features is Creative Briefs, a tool that automatically produces messaging guidelines for a group of personas. So let's now take a look at the next generation Helix personas. This is the new look website. Straight away, you have immediate access to the Helix communities. And along the top, we have the navigation menu with the various sections of the site, as well as your account details. Now let's have a look at the personas first. Under the 6 communities, we have the 52 personas that make up the New Zealand population. They range in size from under 1% to a little over 4% of the population. To access a specific persona, simply click on its name. In this example, we're going to look at the 101 blue chip. The page opens with the Know Me section visible, which provides an overview of the persona. Blue chip make up 3.4% of the New Zealand population. Let me read some of the overview. Success is important, always attainable and inevitable for blue chip. With an endless flow of funds coming in from a range of sources, they are charitable and community-minded. Fine dining, cultural pursuits, and regular international travel are the norm for blue chip. As we scroll down, we can see from the likes that blue chip enjoy galleries and museums, reading, travel, and going out for dinner. The next tab is called Walk With Me and imagines a day in the life of a blue chip. This is very useful if you or your marketing team need to get into the right mindset to understand what makes this persona tick. This tab also contains information about blue chip's core values. We see they are a combination of socially aware and visible achievement. So whilst they may be seen as doing well, they also have a social conscience. Blue chips sit in the middle of the social progressiveness scale, but at the same time tend to be relatively early adopters of technology. All of this information is invaluable when it comes to marketing to this persona. The Reach Me tab provides information on the media blue chip consume. Despite COVID lockdowns, blue chip love going to the cinema. One of the real strengths of Helix Personas is that it covers all media, including traditional and digital channels. Using cinema as an example, marketers would be able to use our partner Val Morgan, the cinema advertising company, to target cinemas and movies that blue chip are more likely to visit and enjoy. But it isn't all about targeting. Reaching and engaging with the blue chip persona is also about messaging and communication style used. To help with this, we've included an overview of how to communicate with blue chips. In this example, we would suggest using a well-known, preferably global, professional or celebrity who conveys a sense of social awareness, who can engage the audience, speaking to them in an informed and conversational tone, promoting issues of social responsibility, the environment, and life experiences. Finally, the Brand Me tab looks at the buying behaviour of blue chip and what they like to do in their spare time. Unsurprisingly, we find that they are 55% more likely than the average Kiwi to own an iPhone and 24% more likely to buy products because of their label. They're also a healthy persona, being 32% more likely than the average Kiwi to do some formal exercise. Next, we'll have a look at the completely new Data Explorer tool. Under the Data section in the main menu, you'll be able to select Data Explorer. There are over 27,000 data points, updated quarterly, available in Data Explorer, grouped into themes including demographics, consumer segmentation, attitudes, media, and activities. Let's have a quick look at attitudes. As you can see, there are a lot of options under this theme. So let's select shopping attitudes. Now let's look at who agrees with the statement, I buy a product because of its label. We can see that the more progressive and trendy metro techs are 22% more likely to agree with this statement, but the average Kiwi, the hearth and home community, are 27% less likely to agree. Now let's have a look at one more example. Who watches Apple TV+? We'll skip down to the media detail and choose streaming video and then Apple TV+. Clearly, metro techs are 30% more likely to watch Apple TV+, whilst the Fair Go community is 40% less likely to watch Apple TV. Quickly switching to the persona view, we can see that social academics are nearly 5 times more likely to watch Apple TV+. As you can see, Data Explorer is rich in detail but simple to use and enables you to unlock the power of Helix Personas by focusing on the attributes that most interest you and that typify your target market. Next, let's have a look at the Audience Profiler tool. It works in the opposite way to Data Explorer by profiling all of the data for a specific persona or a group of personas. Let's have a look at the 101 blue chip again. We can see by glancing at the results that they are wealthy, well-educated, have streaming and paid TV services, use LinkedIn, and go to the ballet. One of the powerful things we can do with the Audience Profiler is now look at the media these personas consume. Let's turn off all of the profiling attributes except for media. And now you can see that this persona reads the Herald on Sunday, the Dominion Post, uses the BBC News app, Vodafone TV, and LinkedIn. Now we're going to look at mapping, which you can find by going to the Overview tab and selecting Location Profiles. The new Helix Persona platform has a completely new mapping feature, which opens with a lovely picture of Wellington. You'll see there are several different mapping functions across the top menu. Let's jump in and show you a few new features. The first tab maps Helix Personas. Here is a map of central Auckland, showing where the 100 leading lifestyle community live in blue and where the 500 getting by community live in orange. We can zoom out a bit to look at the rest of Auckland. You can see the 100s tend to live in the north and east of Auckland, while the 500s tend to live in the south and west of Auckland. Now let's take a trip down to Wellington and look at the same distribution of 100s and 500s. Now the 100s live in suburbs such as Kandala. You can see there are not many 500s living in Wellington at all. Now let's quickly move down to Christchurch. Now we can see that 100s tend to live in Maryvale, while the 500s tend to live around places like Linwood. The second tab is called Data Maps, which allows you to look at a range of data by SA1, SA2, and territorial authority areas. Right now, this map is showing high income areas by SA2 in Auckland. The next tab is called Catchments. which allows you to profile a geographic area. Now let's choose an area around Herne Bay in Ponsonby. Straight away, we can review the total population for the catchment, and we can see that it's predominantly made up of Metrotechs, has high household income, and a generally younger population. This tool is really useful for helping with local area marketing campaigns, as well as store location planning. The next tab shows density maps, which is a brand new feature and helps shows overall concentration for either a persona or other census data such as income. In this example, we're looking at the distribution of the blue chip and smart money personas around Auckland. Finally, I'd like to show you data charts, which rank areas in New Zealand by a selected variable. In this case, we're looking at the percentage of blue chip by each territorial authority. Or with a click of the button, we can do the same by SA2. Finally, let's have a look at the most exciting new feature of the next generation Helix Personas, Creative Briefs. The Creative Brief tool guides and optimizes your messaging and communication. Crucially, it reveals how to reach and persuade the people in each target audience differently, with different messaging, different visual imagery, and different media. To get started, let's imagine you've coded your customer records with Helix Personas. You would end up with a spread of personas that looks something like this. In this example, we are using My Customer data. You'll see nearly all personas are represented to more or less degree. However, it is impractical to create messaging for each persona. So we need a way to group these personas based on their values and how they react to advertising. This is the problem Creative Briefs was designed to solve. To get started, we select the option to load a file. I then simply drag the file with My Customer data onto this page. And then, once it's loaded, we can easily see the spread across all the personas. Next, Creative Briefs will group these personas in up to 4 messaging streams. Each stream is made up of a group of personas that will respond the same way to advertising. This is the key to Creative Briefs. Here are the personas for the first messaging stream. You'll see that there is a spread of communities, including the 100s, 200s, and 400s. Each messaging stream has a number of components that make up the brief. We have the premise underpinning communication, the creative strategy. Here we can see the first tip is demonstrate how the product or service will help the consumer's aspirations to achieve something better in life. Now let's quickly compare this with stream 3, where the first tip is different. That is, focus on the ability to transition from boring and predictable conditions to an exciting and enjoyable new lifestyle. We haven't got the time today to go through all the parts of Creative Brief in detail, but the key areas covered by the tool include the message promise, the value proposition, brand voice, key triggers, advertising tone and style, key drivers, hot buttons, and finally turn-offs. What is amazing is that Creative Briefs dynamically changes depending on the persona profile you upload, and all briefs generated by the tool can be downloaded as a PDF. We believe Creative Briefs will become the cornerstone of the messaging for any campaign you run. So I hope you've enjoyed this short tour of the Next Generation Helix Personas website. It is now my pleasure to introduce Darren Jeremy from Equifax, who's been a long-term partner with Roy Morgan and can really help you activate and target with Helix Personas. So over to you, Darren.
Thank you, Howard, and hi everyone. It's great to be part of the launch of the next generation of Helix today, and also our long-term partnership with Roy Morgan. We are also excited about the new features of Helix and how they'll help us to support our clients going forward. Helping our clients understand their customers better so they can deliver better experiences or find more of them is at the heart of what we do, and data and insights plays a key role in that. However, things aren't getting easier with greater restrictions around data privacy and access to external data. Therefore, we see products like Helix playing a greater role in future, as it gives us deep customer insights without the need to ask consumers for as much information. And it can also be used as a common currency across customer data and non-customer data as well. In fact, we apply Helix to our own prospect universe of over 1.9 million New Zealand consumers and households. Using data science and leveraging the rich granular demographic, property and other data we hold, we've made Helix available at household address level now as well. So this enables direct one-to-one connections with CRM and other data sources. It also opens up a number of other interesting possibilities. The first is that Helix can be linked to customer or prospect data via an email address, mobile number or landline number, as well as a physical address. So this means if you're an online business and you've only got customer emails on file, your data can now be tagged with Helix to get insights about your best customers and where to find more of them. Now, Howard has explained how Helix can be used to understand which media different personas use. And traditionally, Equifax has used Helix to target offline channels, such as direct mail, telemarketing, and door-to-door, which helps us get better response rates for them. In more recent times, however, we've taken things further, enabling use of Helix in digital platforms such as Facebook and Google. So this means you can target, say, 100 leading lifestyles directly on Facebook without the need to infer them from existing Facebook categories. So once you've identified which personas you want to go after, and you've got the right message sorted using the Creative Briefs tool, we can help you reach those users very precisely on Facebook, Instagram, Google, and many other digital platforms. We've also linked Helix to our mobile device data, which opens up a world of opportunity around human movement data analysis. Now this can be used to look at attribution by store visits, or branch traffic by persona, or visitors to attractions or entertainment areas by persona. So we're really excited about using the next generation of Helix and the new features to help our clients and the Helix community achieve their marketing goals. And at this point, I'd like to introduce Stephen Usmar from First Name, who have been long-term users of Helix, to share some examples of how they use it and how it adds value to their business. Thank you.
We've been using the Helix Persona consumer segmentation data and tools for just over 8 years now, and it really does form a key part of most consumer household analysis that we do on a day-to-day basis. We find organisations or our clients know a lot about their customers quite intimately. They know the products they have, they know the services they have research input to it. So yeah, they have a really good picture of their customers. What they often don't have is that same sort of knowledge or intimacy with prospective customers, which is important for acquisition type campaigns. The other question we also get is from our clients is, we already have a customer segmentation set that we've developed based on our existing customers, products and services and knowledge. Unfortunately, that becomes quite a biased type view of the world and makes it very difficult to apply to other households or prospective households, again, for acquisition type campaigns. When we tackle a project using the Helix Persona data, we really do emphasize on going beyond the descriptions that are provided for each of the communities or personas. Really look at the underlying data that was formed to make up those, because it gives you that real identity and behaviours of the households that you're looking at, and really importantly, it is quite actionable type. We also go a lot deeper than the statistical area that the communities and the personas have provided. Using the Equifax landscape product, we can go down to the individual household level and look at the differences in that statistical area, mainly because we're interested in targeting individual households, not a street at a time. Here's an example of a project that we completed from a customer who had a online sports streaming service that they wanted to promote. They wanted to obviously target those households that tended to watch sport on television, and then they wanted us to break it down further to those that were interested in rugby, because that was one of the competitors' key attractions. And then they wanted to know, how do we best communicate with that target household based on their communication preferences. So in that data that I was just talking about that sits behind all the analysis is this question: what sport do you almost always or occasionally watch on TV? And it never ceases to amaze me just quite how much detail there is in all the data that sits behind the personas. So we take that data, we reformat it, recrunch it to a format that we use, and then we can do the analytics. So in this case, we did identify in a particular part of the country the individual households that we wanted to target, simply based on that detailed data that's provided. One of the key tools in the Helix persona data is the communication preferences of the communities and personas. In this example, we looked at the top 10 personas that were more likely to open and action on a direct mail letter versus those that were less likely to action on it. So we ran a true A/B test on this one with our targets and our control groups. And our top 10 we saw had a 38% better performance in sales than the bottom 10. So it really did show the power and cost savings that can be made from using these communication preferences. In preparing for this presentation, I went back through previous projects that we had done, and all through all the packs that we'd produced, both in the analysis and the post-implementation reviews, was Helix Persona right through it. So I definitely recommend making Helix Persona and the tools part of your everyday analytics.
Thank you, Darren and Stephen. We are very pleased to be working with Equifax and agree that activation, particularly on digital, is a very important part of getting the most value from Helix Personas. Darren also raised an important point around how Helix can become a currency or common language across all of your data sets. Stephen then picked up on one of Darren's points about the importance of appending Helix Personas at a household level. And Stephen also showed a lot of the deep data that sits behind Helix Personas that really makes a huge difference when it comes to your marketing campaigns. And congratulations on achieving a 38% improvement on your mail campaign using Helix. I'm sure you'll agree it's great to have some real-world metrics around how Helix Personas perform. Now I'd like to introduce Matt Wilkins from Datamine. Datamine has also been a long-term partner of Roy Morgan and uses Helix Personas as part of their consulting services. Over to you, Matt.
Hi everyone, I'm Matt. I'm a partner at Datamine. We help our clients unlock the value of their data using deep capability across data science and data engineering, and a real focus on driving commercial outcomes. We've actually worked with Helix Personas for many years now, and across many different clients and different industries. We do a lot of work building internal customer segmentations, and these often use a company's transactional data or first-party data to build what we would call a behavioural segmentation. Now, these segmentations are powerful, right, because they can help businesses align organisational strategy with customer marketing strategy and drive tactical execution, including campaigns and other engagements. When used in conjunction with these internal segmentations, we believe Helix Personas is very powerful because it can act as a bridge between an understanding of the wider New Zealand population and your own existing customers. And it brings these behavioural segments to life and provides a much greater understanding of what drives people to do the things they do. How do they feel about important and relevant topics to your organisation? So essentially, we always talk about an ability to combine the what and the when with the equally critical why. And I think it's also important to call out here that these more qualitative insights are actually tagged against all customers in your database. So we start to overcome some of those limitations around actioning research-based insights at a direct or a CRM level. On reflection, I think the reason Helix Personas has always resonated more strongly with the team at Datamine is because unlike other neighbourhood classification solutions, Helix is more than just a classification of age or income or the type of house that you live in. It offers real and actionable insights into customers. Do they care about their career or the environment or both? Are they young and full of optimism, or are they just focused on meeting basic needs? So I think when you can combine these types of insights with the insights into customers that are available from first-party data and other sources, it unlocks a tremendous amount of commercial value for organizations. And that's certainly what we've found across broad areas, including media effectiveness and optimization, tailoring the way you execute customer experiences based on an understanding of what actually makes different types of customers tick. And I think importantly, being able to deliver deeper insights into customers more quickly right across your organization. So yeah, we would certainly describe the Helix Personas neighbourhood and household classification solution as best in breed that's currently available in the market. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. It's interesting that Matt raises one of the most common issues with customer segmentations, namely how difficult they are to operationalise in the real world, and how Helix Personas doesn't necessarily replace these segmentations, but complements them by making it really easy to operationalise them, especially if you're trying to buy media. Now, at this point, you're all probably keen to know how to get access to the next generation Helix Personas. Let me take you through what happens next. Firstly, all of our existing clients will be automatically upgraded to the new Helix Personas. From today, existing clients will receive instructions on how to access the new platform, and over the next few days, your account manager will be in contact to discuss how you can take full advantage of the new Helix Personas and unlock the platform's full potential. For anyone who is new to Helix Personas, please feel free to contact us on the details shown on the screen. Everyone at Roy Morgan would like to take this opportunity to thank our partners, Equifax, First Name and Datamine, for being part of this presentation. And most importantly, we thank you for watching this webinar, and we hope you have found the presentation interesting.